So, Victor Wembanyama is, simply put, barely human. Barely human. Like, you might say not human, but I mean this. He is barely human, because the fact that he might have he has an occasional off game shows that he is human, but barely. Before we get on, if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe. We're trying to hit 6K by the end of the day. We're 85 subscribers off, and we got 5 more videos left today. We're uploading 10 on today. If we could somehow get that for uploading 10, that would be insane. Either way, though, we got to talk about Wemby. Victor Wembanyama is one of the best players in the NBA, and I don't care what anyone says. Like, they played against the Lakers yesterday, and yeah, Wemby got outplayed by Anthony Davis. But, like, we're now talking about, like, oh, Wemby got outdueled by AD. And that's, like, the level he's being compared to. Yes, I know ESPN vastly underrated Anthony Davis. But Wemby, on any given night, can be a top 10 player in the NBA. And through his last 5 games before last night, he was averaging 34, 9, 5 assists, nearly 3 blocks a game on 54 and 40% shooting and 41% from 3. And yeah, last night he was pretty rough from 3. I'll admit that. He was pretty rough from 3, 2 of 9. But like, on the season, Victor Wembanyama is still averaging like what, 3-point-something blocks per game? Like, on the season, he's averaging 23.4 points on nearly 50% shooting, 3-point shooting up to 48%. And again, or say up to 34%, which it means, if you guys don't know, shooting 33% from 3 is the equivalent of shooting 50% from 2. So he's shooting above that. He's shooting 86% from the line. He's averaging 10 boards and 3.5 blocks per game. So he's 3.6 blocks per game. Same as last year. 1.3 steals. So he's averaging like 5 stocks a game on the season. He's averaging 5 stocks, 10 boards, and 23.4 points on decent shooting. Like, again, not brilliant shooting, but he's added a percentage to his 3-pointer, and also you have to take into account that he started off the season super cold, and he's also got he's shooting 47%, so it's 1% higher. As great as he was as a rookie, he is getting slightly better, and he also started off cold. Whereas last year, the cold streak lasted for quite a few months. The cold streak seems to have stopped. And it's funny because of Victor Wembanyama's shot diet, which I admit could be better. The problem is that in the way the game is now, you play outside in. It doesn't matter what size you are, you're going to play outside in. Because when you play outside, it frees up your space for the inside. Also, by the way, they are lying about this man's height. Apparently, Victor Wembanyama is 7'3". And I'm not joking when I say this. They list Zach Edey at 7'5". And Zach Edey is older than Victor Wembanyama. And I need to find the picture. There is the All-Star 5. Edey is older than Victor Wembanyama, and Victor Wembanyama has grown since this picture. So Edey's listed at 7'5". Wemby's grown since this picture. Edey has not. He was always been listed at 7'5". Wemby is taller than Edey, even if you take out the hair. Wemby is taller than Edey, and Wemby's grown. Because we've seen pictures of Wemby beside like Gobert. Wemby's about 7'6". Like, I don't know how you can get 7'3", how you can get that this man's 7'3", this man's 7'1", and this guy's 7'5". But because if there's one guy that's 7'5" here, it's this big guy in the middle. And again, this is Edey. Edey's 19 years old in this picture. Wemby's 17. And Wemby was still growing last season. Either way, though, Wemby's about 7'6". So we know the way that he plays. We know what he's been doing, and he's still as far as advanced stats go, he's still shooting not a terrible percentage. Like, he could well be by the end of the season 50, 35, 90, which is good. Which is good shooting. Like, you expect a higher field goal percentage from a big, but the reality is he's more Kevin Durant than anything. And like, he's more wing. He's a 7'6" wing, and the ability to go inside out is so important. He's never gonna have a post game because his lower body strength's never gonna be enough. But it's like the best version of what a Porzingis can be. And if you take away from the fact that people are frustrated that he's 7'6", if he somehow gets a turnaround bank shot, it's over. Like, it's actually over. But the guy is honestly, people talking about sophomore slump. He's been cooking since the Czech game. He's not even aggressive yet. Wemby All-Star lock this year. He is one, like, we haven't seen anything ever like Victor Wembanyama. Obviously, we've never seen, like, a player his height. Like, I genuinely think he's one of the 4 or 5 tallest players to ever play in the NBA. And I know there are players that he's listed as 7'3". Man, he's somehow listed as smaller than Porzingis. Like, or the same height as Porzingis. They're both listed 7'3". He's listed as now the same height as Bol. Wembanyama is genuinely 2 to 3 inches taller than Bol. Without question. Like, they both... he's just obviously listed himself as smaller, maybe so the people are less annoyed about him not going inside. He's about 7'6". We've never seen a 7'6" guard who can create, take it to the basket like he can, pull up from mid like he can, shoot from 3 like he can, hit a high degree of difficulty shots like he can. And all he needs is just a go-to move. And again, we keep forgetting. We expect this guy to be the best player in the world straight away. He's a lock to be an all-star as a second year. He is 20 years old. If he gets... And this is him over his last 5, obviously. He's averaging 23 on the season after a slow start. If he gets a move, and I mean a move, from just taking the same amount of shots he can get, a move that he can get consistently, because he's impossible to contest, Wemby could very easily have a season where he averages 30, 10, and 3 blocks a game. 30, 10, and 3 blocks on a season while being the best defensive player in the world and also being able to pass and have a good feel for the game and everything. Like, if there's a player, we've always said this about the GOAT. Like, there will be different I think there are so many different arguments when it comes to, like, the greatest of all time player. Like, you have Michael Jordan, whose career reads like a storybook. And it's hard, if someone believes it's Michael Jordan, you're never going to be able to argue otherwise because they have enough arguments to make their case. If someone believes it's LeBron James, they have enough arguments to make their case because longevity matters, and nobody in the history of like basketball will ever have the longevity of LeBron James. It's just never going to happen, and that obviously matters. And the 8 finals in a row, like, you can't just ignore that. And then you also have to take into account that, like, there is no possibility for you to have a storybook career like Jordan. With the second apron, there is not going to be a star player to win 6 rings ever again. I mean that. The only person who might win 5 or 6 rings in the modern NBA is literally, because of the second apron, is a role player who just starts jumping from team to team and is a bit part player. Like, you will not win. The league is getting rid of the dynasty. No one's ever going to have the storybook career of Jordan. But what Wembanyama could potentially be, if he stays healthy, is just, well, he was just better than everybody else. And that argument is something that you might be able, that he has the potential to make, which nobody else does. Forget about all that stuff. He's just better than everybody else. It was I'm trying to think of somebody that you can make that argument. Like, even by the time Lionel Messi in 2011, when he had won his 3rd Ballon d'Or in a row, he'd won 3 Ballon d'Ors in a row. He had just won his 2nd Champions League in 3 years, and he was like early 20s. And it was literally like, he doesn't need to do all this other stuff. We are actually watching, and he's like a better version of Maradona. He's just the best player ever. Like, the GOAT, Messi was considered the GOAT by most football fans when he was in his early 20s, because we just watched him and they're like, nobody has ever been this good. He is just the best. And that's what could happen with Wemby. Obviously, it's not going to happen in his early 20s, but genuinely, it could be a case where Victor Wembanyama genuinely could become the GOAT in that regard. Either way, though, it is what it is.